Dragons of the Singularity. Part 2, Shadows of the Present. Chapter 2, Echoes and Agents. The storm over Greenland never ceased. Auroras bled across the horizon even at noon, green and violet veils that should not have been there. The camp's instruments were useless. Compasses spun wild, GPS signals jittered, and long-range comms degraded into static. Rourke blamed solar flares. The scientists knew better. The resonance was thickening, a global hum growing louder as more dragons woke. Selene felt it in her bones. The voices pressed closer each night, some distant and curious, others sharp and probing. Sometimes she felt dozens at once, a chorus too vast to hold. Sometimes one voice cut through, Alpha's steady, golden resonance, a tether in the storm. She clung to it. Without it, she feared she might unravel.
Project Echo, Kieran said grimly, sliding a dossier across the lab table.
Selene skimmed the stamped pages. Experimental cognitive harmonization operations. Military logos, corporate seals, classified directives, photographs of human subjects strapped into neural rigs, wires and diodes fixed to their skulls.
She looked up sharply. Where did you get this?
Kieran gave a humorless grin. You'd be surprised how many bored techs leave terminals unlocked. Besides, the higher-ups don't hide much when they think of us as civilian specialists.
Selene felt her stomach twist. They're trying to replicate the bond.
Not trying, Kieran said. Doing, or at least breaking people in the attempt.
The next page showed biometric data, spikes of neural activity, seizures, hemorrhages, mortality rates listed in fine print.
Selene pushed the folder away, bile rising in her throat. They're going to kill them!
They already have, Kieran said quietly. 40% fatality rate. The rest, worse.
She closed her eyes. And they think this will give them control.
Kieran's jaw tightened. They don't want control. They want weapons. Human proxies who can think like dragons, move like them, kill like them.
That night, Selene couldn't sleep. The resonance thrummed in her skull like a heartbeat. She sat at her console, staring at the dossier's images until her eyes burned. The thought pressed into her mind before she realized it wasn't her own. Echoes of us. Shadows of you.
She gasped, clutching her temples. Alpha?
The hum answered, golden and steady. They are breaking themselves to find us. They do not see.
See what?
That the bond is not taken. It is given.
Selene shivered. Then why me?
There was silence for a long moment. Then, because you listened.
Tears stung her eyes. If they keep this up, people will die. More than people. Everything will die.
The hum deepened, sorrowful. Not if you choose.
The first public leak broke 3 days later. A video surfaced on the darknet, filmed on a shaky handheld. A young woman strapped to a neural rig, electrodes sparking across her scalp. Her screams echoed as her eyes burned with unnatural light. For a moment, her voice fractured into a roar. Not human, not dragon, something between. Then the feed cut to static. The video spread like wildfire. Governments denied it. Conspiracy channels amplified it. Protesters flooded the streets of London, São Paulo, Tokyo. Placards bore slogans, "Dragons are not ours to steal." Others shouted the opposite, "Harness or perish." The fracture lines widened. At Greenland, a delegation arrived unannounced. Sleek black helicopters slicing through the auroras, men and women in tailored coats stepping out with briefcases. They bore no flags, no insignia, only clipped credentials that opened every door. They introduced themselves as the Consortium.
Selene quickly learned what that meant. A coalition of corporate magnates, defense contractors, and intelligence directors. Power without borders. They spoke softly, but their words carried weight. Dr. Arkwright, one said, a man with eyes like glass. You are unique, the only confirmed resonance subject to survive without augmentation. You are valuable.
Her skin crawled. I'm not your experiment.
On the contrary, he said smoothly. You are already proof of concept. The question is whether you remain an asset or become a liability.
Kieran bristled. She's not your property.
The man smiled thinly. Everything is property, Mr. Vega. Even dragons, even you.
After they left, Kieran exploded. They'll dissect you if they can, do you get that? They'll rip your skull open to see why it works.
Selene sat heavily on a stool, her hands trembling. They don't understand. It's not something you can build. It's a choice. Mutual.
Kieran paced, his hair wild. Then why you? Why not me? Why not anyone else?
She almost told him about the dreams, the visions, the sorrow in Alpha's eyes, but she couldn't. Not yet. Instead, she whispered, "Because I listened."
Outside the base, the world teetered. In Africa, tribes invoked dragon spirits older than recorded history. In South America, thousands trekked into the mountains, believing the serpents were gods reborn. In Europe, militias declared themselves dragon hunters, swearing to protect humanity with fire and steel. And in the shadows, new agents moved. Selene first met one in the mess hall. A woman in civilian clothes, her gaze too sharp, her posture too precise. She slid a folded note across the table. Selene unfolded it beneath the tray. 3 words, "They know you." When she looked up, the woman was gone.
That night, Selene confronted Kieran. "We're being watched."
He snorted. We've been watched since day 1.
No, not just watched, targeted. Someone knows about the bond.
Kieran frowned. Who?
She shook her head. "I don't know. Consortium, military, another government. But if they know..."
They'll come for you, he finished grimly.
Selene swallowed hard. "Then we have to stay ahead."
The next dream was different. Selene stood in a chamber of crystal, walls humming with light. Dragons wheeled in the distance, their reflections scattered infinitely in the glass. Alpha descended, golden eyes solemn. "The echoes multiply," it whispered, "but shadows move among them."
Selene's breath trembled. "What shadows?"
Images flashed. Men in black coats, faces blank, carrying devices that pulsed with stolen resonance, wires binding human skulls, blood, fire.
"Tell me what to do," she begged.
The dragon's gaze softened. You must learn what they fear and why.
The crystal shattered around her. She woke screaming. By dawn, word arrived from Moscow. A dragon had descended into the Volga basin. Instead of fire, it brought silence. Entire grids went dark. Nuclear systems flickered. Jets fell from the sky without firing a shot. And then, just as suddenly, it vanished. The Kremlin blamed NATO interference. NATO blamed Russia. Both mobilized forces. Selene watched the news feeds, heart sinking. The dragons weren't trying to conquer. They were testing, probing, sending messages humanity refused to hear. And now the humans were turning on each other faster than the dragons could act. The fault lines weren't just between nations, they were inside every heart.
That evening, Kieran burst into her quarters, face flushed. I've got it.
Selene blinked. "Got what?"
The key. He slapped a tablet onto her desk. Data cascaded across the screen. Genetic codes, fractal patterns unfolding into symbols. It's language, he said breathlessly. Encoded in the DNA. Not just instructions for a body. It's words. A message.
Selene stared, her pulse hammering. "What does it say?"
Kieran's grin was manic. I don't know yet, but I will. He leaned closer, his voice a whisper. And Selene, what if it's not just for them? What if it's for us?
That night, Selene couldn't escape the resonance. It pressed too close, like a tide threatening to drown her. She staggered outside, snow crunching under her boots, breath burning in the cold. The sky rippled with auroras, brighter than she had ever seen. The hum deepened, and for the first time she felt not just dragons. She felt others, echoes of humanity, flickers of thought not her own, fragments of voices screaming, whispering, begging. The test subjects, they were alive in the resonance, and they were in agony. Selene fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. The bond wasn't just a gift, it was a responsibility. and the shadows had already begun twisting it into a weapon.